What's up, everybody? This is a Tello Talk podcast, episode 2. Today I'm just by myself. Just wanted to get this episode out for you guys, and just so you guys had something to look at this week. I didn't want to be inconsistent. Consistency is key with a podcast. So today we're just going to be just me, as I said. It's going to be two little topics. Brief little thing about the Super Bowl, just talking about how it went, and then we'll go into our my early rankings. So getting off with the Super Bowl, I'm going to go with talking about what I think could have been better towards the end of the game. I loved it. I loved watching the game. Not the ending I wanted, as I was rooting for the Bengals, but congrats to the Rams, by the way. They deserved that. They played a great game, and what eventually bit the Bengals is that O-line just could not handle the Rams D-line in the second half. But I think we all expected Cooper Kupp to do what Cooper Kupp does, and he showed it there. He made Eli Apple look like a fool, and I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't want to admit it. Because I was really hoping for the Bengals to win, but, that's just what it comes down to. Matthew Stafford was killing it, and Cooper Kupp was killing it as well. Bengals-wise, I thought they did a great job in the first half, third quarter as well. I just think after they got that interception in the third quarter, and then it ended up only translating into a field goal, I was a little worried after the field goal. I was like, well, now the Bengals are only up by one score still. I believe it was 20-13 at that time. And if you would have scored a touchdown, you would have been up by 11. And with the way the Rams were playing in the third quarter, you would have been up by 11 going into the fourth quarter instead of going up by 4. You would have been up by 8 because of the field goal. It would have been 16-24, which is still a lot better because then the Rams, if they score, have to go 4-2. But the first half, great first half in my opinion. Second half, great second half. Legendary performance by Cooper Kupp, though. Legendary performance by Aaron Donald. If there's any quarterback in the league right now that deserved to win a ring that hadn't, it was definitely Matthew Stafford. So props to him. I'm glad he got his ring because it's well deserved. Now for the Bengals, do I think they'll be back next year? I don't. I think that they have a very bright future, alongside with teams like the 49ers and the 49ers probably have the best future. I don't know why I'm talking about the Niners, but Bengals, great future ahead of them. I don't think they'll be there next year. I definitely think they will be there in the next coming years. I don't see Joe Burrow as a quarterback that will not be a winner. He has been a winner throughout his entire career playing football, from high school, LSU, and now. First season, Bengals were not very good. He didn't play the whole year, but he is a proven winner, and he may not be the best quarterback in his draft class, as I think Justin Herbert's a more talented quarterback. I think Joe Burrow could technically also be considered better because of what he can do on a field. And I think that he is a better winner than Justin Herbert, and he is better in under pressure moments when it comes to close games. Yes, Justin Herbert's an amazing clutch quarterback, but there's been some games where Herbert's looked a little questionable when it comes to clutch moments. And I don't think there's a lot of games where it's Burrow's fault, only his fault. But that's all I got to say about the Super Bowl. I don't really want to go in depth if it was a week ago, I could talk about how the reffing was a little questionable at the end, but goes both ways. The T. Higgins touchdown should have been a face mask, and that holding call on 3rd and goal shouldn't have been holding. So anyways, going on to the next thing. The big thing of today is going to be my way too early rankings. I haven't pulled them up right here. But we're going to go with, instead of 32-1, because I do not sure who I think the best team is, I'm going to go divisions. I'm going to start off with AFC Divisions, and then AFC East, West, North, South, and then NFC East, West, North, South. I'm going to go with divisions here. So starting off with the AFC East, I think the Jets will finish last in the AFC East again. Not saying they will go 4-13 like they did last year. I think they will improve. Wilson showed some promise towards the end. I believe he can be a good quarterback for the Jets. Rough start to his career. He had like 9 interceptions, I believe, in how many games? I don't remember how many games it was, but he only finished the season with 11. So after that, he kind of turned it around. A team that I could see actually going up more, still in third though, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins. With the new coach, a lot of young talent, I believe that they have a good chance to make a wild card spot. I would not be surprised if the AFC East ends up having 3 teams in the playoff next year, with the Dolphins, Patriots, and Bills, of course. Dolphins, I liked watching them play this year. I believe, though, this is Tua's last season to prove if he can be a starting franchise QB or not. Because if you give him that, you've given him enough time. He's finally got a new coach that's an offensive-minded coach, unlike Brian Flores. And if he can't show the Dolphins that he can lead a team like that into the playoffs, I don't think he's your quarterback of the future. I think you might need to start thinking, do we look for something else? Because we've got way too much talent to not be making the playoffs. Going into second place of the AFC East is going to be the New England Patriots. It's kind of crazy to say this after the year before this last season, seeing the team with Cam Newton going, 7-9 or something. It was just like the Patriots really gone, and then all of a sudden, boom, Mac Jones gets drafted, a bunch of free agent signings, and the team just comes back into being a playoff team. And very, very disappointing playoff game from them. I did not expect them to get blown out as much. I didn't expect them to win, but I did not expect them to get blown out as much as they did by the Bills. But when you watch the Bills play in that game, it just shows how good of a team the Bills are and how good of a future I think the Bills have. Patriots, of course, too. As I said, I think Kendrick Bourne is ready for a breakout season with the Patriots. He's shown. I think personally for me, I like watching him play. He's a pretty good player. Plus, he had that 75-yard touchdown against Trayvon Diggs against the Cowboys, and people know how I feel about Trayvon Diggs. I'm not the biggest Trayvon Diggs fan. But my first place in the AFC East, I think it's an obvious one. I think they're obviously going to win this division, even though they kind of had a little iffy moments last year. It's definitely going to be the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's just that guy. Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in football. I know you can say Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football, but I'm saying for the future, and from present day to the future, I don't put Aaron Rodgers as the best quarterback. He's the best quarterback right now, but I'm talking in general for the future. It goes Mahomes, then Allen. And Josh Allen's just an incredible player. I mean, the fact that he's got the strong arm, he can run, he can hit people, he can hit his receivers well. It's just, he's such it's decision making too. He's got some pretty good decision making. Now, do I think the Bills could improve with their running game? Yes. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are, I would not say, very good starting running back calibers. I'm not saying they're bad. They do their job. Let's just say that with the Bills game, because the Bills game is definitely a lot of pass game and Josh Allen game. But Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, they're good, but they're not what I would consider to be a starting running back on any other team. For instance, with the Patriots, they've got Damian Harris. That guy, Damian Harris, is amazing. The Dolphins, they've got Myles Gaskin, who was a little disappointing this season. I'm not going to lie when I say that. I think Myles Gaskin has a lot more in him. I remember watching him back at UW. And he looked like he could be a pretty good dual threat running back, and he showed that not this season but last season that he can play on both ends on the running back spectrum with the running and receiving. And then even the Jets too, I think they've got some promise in them with Michael Carter. I believe that's his name, the rookie running back out of North Carolina. The running back duo of him and Javonte Williams back at North Carolina, they were just both amazing. And I think that he can be something for the Jets. And with the Bills, it's just kind of weird seeing that the best team in that division, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the league, doesn't really have a solidified running back one. If you fix that problem, or if one of them steps it up, that team would be one of the most dangerous teams in the league. All right. Well, anything with that, we're going to hop into the AFC West, going with last place. It's kind of weird, okay? I don't know how to rank it. Depending on how I feel about the Rodgers sweepstakes. The Broncos without Aaron Rodgers will be in last place. I'm going to say that. They will be in last place again. Record won't change that much. Maybe a little bit of improvement in the record, but I don't see them being a playoff team without Aaron Rodgers. With Aaron Rodgers, I'll get to that later. Third place or fourth place if Rodgers is in the division, I've got the Las Vegas Raiders. They proved a lot of people wrong last year, going 10-7 with the whole Gruden thing, Ruggs thing. I mean, they had to go through a lot. But I just think the team that they have isn't good enough to produce a 10-7 season again, especially with all the new teams that are kind of on the rise right now and all the teams that have been dealing with injuries that are going to be back next year. I don't see the Raiders putting another 10-7 season up there. The Chargers, I've got them in second no matter what. So the Broncos and Raiders a little interchangeable, 3 and 4. Chargers in second. Justin Herbert's just that guy. I would not be surprised if they give the Chiefs a run for their money this year and this next upcoming year for the division. As we could see, Herbert can duel with Mahomes. 1-1 this season against the Chiefs. He's got weapons. Mike Williams, I definitely like to see him get more involved throughout the year. He had a great start to the year and then kind of a subpar end. He had a couple plays here and there, but from a guy like Mike Williams, that's not something you want to see. And then Guyton, I believe that's his name, he showed some pretty good plays in the season, I think. But it's just the fact that you've got Herbie, Mr. Herbert, and Austin Eckler as your running back. It's just Herbert's such a good talent. He's a generational quarterback. But he is one of those next generation QBs that is going to be one of the faces of the league because of how good he is and what he can do. And the fact that you don't really see very many tall QBs like him make it in the league. Like him and Josh Allen are really two tall QB. I don't know how tall Herbert is, but I'm pretty sure he's taller than most people. All right, going to number 1 in the AFC West. It's a little obvious. It's definitely going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. And the reasoning why is it's the Chiefs. I don't have to say anything else. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Mahomes is Mahomes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is kind of their weakest spot, in my opinion, on the offense. The running back spot's a little iffy there. Williams, he did a good job stepping up when Helaire was hurt. Wouldn't be surprised seeing him get more running back 1 reps because, in my opinion, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not the greatest running back 1. I think he's probably one of the worst in the league right now. But we don't really need to talk about the Chiefs. We all know why they're number 1. I think they're going to be the second, probably top 3 team in the league. Definitely a top 3 team in the league next year. Going on to the AFC North, this is my favorite division I'm going to want to talk about because this division is going to be good next year. Depending on if the Steelers can get a quarterback, depending on if the Browns and Ravens can stay healthy, and depending on the Bengals keep on doing what they were doing last year. what I'm gonna have is last place is gonna be the Steelers. I think they're definitely a very talented team. I mean, with a very old Big Ben doing what they could do is very impressive. I mean, very impressive doing that with an old Big Ben. And a guy, if they get a young guy, maybe even like a Malik Willis or a Matt Corral, or if they end up having to get Kenny Pickett, or Desmond Ritter. I don't know. Just a young quarterback in general. If I were the Steelers, I'd be pushing to try and get Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, because that could really put your team over the hump, and you could become back into those times of Big Ben, Le'Veon, and AB, where you were always competing for an AFC champion. You were always in the divisional, always in the championship. You would never lose in the wild card. You were one of the top teams in the AFC. I can see the Steelers doing that, but I just can't pick on this division. It's just the Steelers, Bengals, Browns, Ravens. I think all four of these teams have the capability of being good. And going with that, the third team is going to be the Browns. I don't see the Browns being as good as they were that one year where they almost beat the Chiefs in the divisional. But I do see the Browns as a team that can really shock people after going 8-9 this last season. Baker, he does not need to stay. I don't want him being a Browns quarterback anymore. Yes, he did play the whole year with I believe, torn labrum or something in his shoulder, which is never good. But when you have a quarterback with that many not even 20 passing touchdowns, it's just not something you want under center. Browns, knowing them, they might stick with Baker again because he's shown promise for them in years. I just don't think Baker's the guy. The defense, it's got a lot of good players. I just think Baker's their big problem because they've got weapons. They're not very known weapons, but I think that Jarvis Landry, of course, Donovan Peoples-Jones it can be good if he will have a good quarterback. And of course, they have probably the best running back duo in the backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. It's just incredible what those two do. Going on to second, this one's was really close for me. It was definitely going to be between the Ravens and the Bengals. And, I'm going to go with the Bengals at second. I think that they could win the division this year. I think they have a chance at winning the division. Great chance. But I just don't see a fully healthy Ravens team with a full season Lamar. You got to remember, Lamar had that team at 8-3, first in the conference. Lamar gets hurt, they lost 6 straight. And that's where you look at it and say, if Lamar's fully healthy, what is that team doing next year? Is that team the first seed in the AFC? Because the first seed in the AFC was 12-5 this year. And who knows what Lamar would have done? If he was 8-3, that's what? In 11 games, he's 8-3. So what? He'd probably go 13-4, 12-5 as well. So he could possibly get a first seed, second seed, and who knows what would happen from there. I mean, they're a big what-if team from last year. I mean, 8-9 is not something that you want, but Lamar is just, people say he's not that good, but Lamar is just so good. The fact that he can throw the ball sometimes, I mean, he's a little iffy sometimes, but he's also really on point sometimes, or he can run the ball. Just the way he can be such a big dual threat is just incredible. And he just gives defenses nightmares. He's a nightmare. And I just think that the Ravens will be first. The Bengals, great team, great talent. Great young team, as I've said. Amazing future ahead of them. But with a fully healthy Ravens team, and if the Bengals do not fix their O-line this offseason, they're not winning. The Ravens will come up on top in the AFC North. Heading into the AFC South, finishing off the AFC, I'm just going to speed past this real quick because this might be kind of easy. Last place is going to be Jaguars because of the Jaguars. Third place, Texans. I think Davis Mills is a great quarterback. If They want to keep Deshaun Watson. They can try, but I don't think Deshaun's going to want to be there anymore still. Deshaun's definitely going to leave by a trade, of course, because he can't just leave. Second place is going to be the Colts. It's just going to look the same as this last year in the division. The Colts, I think they'll definitely have improvements. Do they make the playoffs? I don't know. Because, as I've said, there's teams. I think, personally, next year, the teams in the playoffs will be no order. Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans, Bengals, Chargers, and Patriots. Those are what I think will make the playoffs. So Colts are a good enough team to make the playoffs, but I don't know if they will. Especially if Carson Wentz is still the quarterback. He did a great job than I was expecting. Way better job. But do I think that he is good enough to bring that team to the playoffs? No. And if they do make the playoffs, be successful? No. Which leaves, of course, Derrick Henry and the Titans at first. Tannehill kind of iffy towards the end of the year. 3-interception game to end their season. Not good. But a fully healthy Derrick Henry is just incredible. That's just, and their defense is great. Their defense is a very good defense. Nothing really needed to say that's against the Titans. They kind of proved everybody wrong this year, going 12-5 without Derrick Henry for most of the season as well. All right, heading into the NFC, we got the NFC East. Last place of the NFC East, we're gonna go with the newly named team, Washington Commanders, and I don't see them doing anything successfully. No, not at all. I feel bad because Terry McLaurin, he's one of my favorite receivers to watch. But he needs a quarterback. Taylor Heineke was cool and all, but he is not your quarterback. And he won't be successful, to Terry McLaurin, that is, without a quarterback. And your guys' defense should be good, but it wasn't. So you need to find a way to fix that. And without fixing that, you're not going to get anywhere. You can't win a division at 7-9 anymore. 7-9 anymore like they did the year before this last previous season, because there's teams like the Cowboys and Eagles in your division that are actually becoming good again. Third place, I got the Giants. I'm definitely seeing improvement from them. I think Daniel Jones will have an improvement season. New head coach, new coaching staff. I don't know if it's entirely new coaching staff, but I just think without Joe Judge, that team will be a lot more better on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense showed can ball. Their players can ball. I think their defense can ball. Bradbury is a great corner. Jabril Peppers is one of their safeties. I've always been a big fan of him. I really don't know too much about him in the NFL. I don't watch much Giants games, but I really think that he can still be a good player in the NFL if he wanted to, if he works for it. Second place is going to be the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. I think he still needs to be the quarterback for the Eagles, unless there's like a Russell Wilson trade opportunity. Then you kick him out the door. You say, "See you later. Russell's our guy." As I've said, a young team. In the last episode, we talked about the Eagles. I think that if they get everything together, get a lot of pieces together, they could scare the Cowboys for a division clinch. But I don't see anybody beating the Cowboys, right, for that division. So I'm going to go with, of course, Cowboys winning that division, the NFC East. Nothing much said. I mean, their defense played phenomenal last season for what I thought. But their offense needs to kind of step it up in bigger games. Getting destroyed by the Broncos is not something that you want to happen. And when the Niners basically spoon-fed you that wild card game and you still managed to choke it by running a QB draw with 14 seconds, that's where you need to go and say, hey, we need to fix our offense. I mean, Kellen Moore's a great OC, but that's not something that should be done at all. NFC West, the division with the champs in it. Last place, I've got Seattle, because I don't think Russ will be a Seahawk next year. They are going to be going into rebuild mode if Russ is gone. Not much to say about Seattle. They've got a guy like Rashad Penny and DK Metcalf, who will be great for them in the future. But I don't think Russ will be there next year. I mean, he has come out and said that he loves Seattle. He wants to be in Seattle again, I believe. I just saw a clip going around saying that. But I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I just don't see Seattle keeping him anymore. Third place, this is where the division gets hard. I've got the Cardinals in third. They were really good at the beginning of the season this year. Last undefeated team, and then everything just kind of went to shambles. Everything just fell apart. And with their whole Kyler drama, I don't see. I mean, if Kyler stays, he has a looking for revenge tour or whatever. I just don't see them being as successful. Cliff Kingsbury's not as good as everybody thought he would be. He's gonna be their head coach, of course. D-Hop needs to stay healthy. He does not stay healthy. James Conner's good for red zone touches. Edmonds needs to kind of step it up again. I just don't see the Cardinals being this division's just really stacked, and I don't see this division having the Cardinals up on top. And in second place of the division, this is a little bit of a curve, but I'm gonna go with the Super Bowl champions, the LA Rams. Do I think the LA Rams can win the division? Yes, if they bring everybody back. But the way the Niners started their season this year, 4-6, and then ended up going 10-7 or something. I don't remember if that's correct, but the Niners, in my opinion, are just a lot better when it comes to young talent. I mean, the Rams have win now. They have players that are win now players. Other than some players on their team, because Cup, I mean, it was fifth season, fourth season, something. But a lot of their players are win now players, like Stafford and Miller, and for now, honestly, it's Donald and Ramsey. There are a lot of win now players, as I said. Odell, he's somewhere in the mix. I don't know if he's a win now player, but I'd consider him a win now player. That's what I think about the Rams, but of course, first place would be the 49ers. I think the 49ers pull out that division. They've got such good. That team is so talented and so fun to watch. It's just Jimmy G is a problem. You get a solidified quarterback under center for the 49ers, and that team is making the Super Bowl next year. Even if it's Trey Lance, if he shows promise, that team is making the Super Bowl next year. I mean, the 6th seed, didn't know if they were making the playoffs until winning the last game in overtime of their season, and they ended up almost making the Super Bowl, and the only reason they didn't is because Jaquiski Tartt can't catch an interception to save his life, and Jimmy Garoppolo sold so hard. That team's a Super Bowl team. You put Trey Lance under center, I think that team wins. Now, Trey Lance doesn't have experience, but I think that I don't think he folds as bad as Jimmy does. I mean, he was 1 for 7 in the last 3 drives with an interception. And that's just something you don't want to see. Heading into the last 2 divisions, and we're going to wrap it up. We got the MC North. It's another questionable one. I've got the Lions in last. Lions will definitely improve, but they'll be in last still. The Lions are the Lions. I'm not going to say much. They got a lot of young players. They're a young team. They got a newer coach still with Dan Campbell. I like Dan Campbell as a coach, but the Lions are going to need a few years to figure everything out. And they're just in history, the Lions are the Lions. Third place is going to be the Bears. I think the Fields will definitely benefit off of not having Nagy anymore. Fields will definitely be able to blossom more as a sophomore quarterback. Most quarterbacks in their sophomore year have a slump, but I think he will have a rise, kind of like quarterbacks like Herbert and Burrow and Hurts. Justin Fields will follow along those lines, and that's where they fit for me. Now, for the next 2, this is all dependent on if Rodgers stays. If Rodgers stays, Packers are winning the division, of course, and the Vikings come after. If Rodgers just leaves, that most likely means Adams will leave. Devontae will leave. Now, Devontae Adams leaving, that's where I think if both of them go, the Packers could be the 3 seed, and the Bears could be 2, and the Vikings 1. I think the Vikings are either going to be 2 or 1, depending on if Rodgers leaves. If Rodgers is gone, then the Packers will be 3 or 2. If Rodgers stays, they're winning the division. If Vikings, on that hand, Rodgers stays there in second. Rodgers leaves, they're in first. Bears, if Rodgers leaves, they have a chance of being 2, but I don't know. Jordan Love hasn't really shown very good stuff out of him, so we don't know, but we haven't seen him play a full season. Going on to the last division, I've got the NFC South. This one's a good, interesting one because all of these teams, nobody really knows what they're going to look like next year. I think the Falcons are the only guaranteed team to look what they're going to look like because I don't see them moving on from Matt Ryan yet. With Calvin Ridley possibly being yes, but last place is going to be the Panthers. Panthers are probably the team in that division that is probably the worst. Sam Darnold is not your answer. You need a new quarterback. Cam Newton's not the answer. You need a new quarterback. You got to go quarterback in the draft. You cannot try and stick with one of those guys. Third place. I'm gonna say it. Right now. They've got good talent, but without Tom Brady, they're not going to be anything. The Buccaneers in third place. I don't see the Buccaneers doing anything without Tom Brady. They've got a lot of great players, but they also benefited off of having Tom Brady as their quarterback. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. And without him being there, you saw what they did with all that talent when Jameis Winston was there. They were 7-9, I believe. And speaking of Jameis, he is not going to Tampa. He is not going to Carolina. I refuse to believe it because there's no way he would go back to Tampa Bay. In second place, I might sound a little biased with this, but it's either the Falcons or the Saints. The Falcons and the Saints are a toss-up right now. Of course, I'm going to lean towards the Saints. I think the Saints have enough to win that division next year if they can retain Jameis or even get a guy like Deshaun. They have talent. The Saints do. Same with the Falcons. They have talent. Kyle Pitts is one-of-a-kind tight end. We have never seen a tight end like this before who can play like a receiver. Matt Ryan's Matt Ryan. I mean, he's good. He's good, but he's not great. I'm not saying he's good, but he's not average. He's above average, I'd say. It's with Calvin Ridley leaving, you have Russell Gage as your number 1 receiver, and he showed some pretty good games of having number 1 receivers type abilities, but when a tight end is your best receiver, that's where you get a little iffy. And you could say, oh, well, the Chiefs have Travis Kelce, but they also have guys like Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. And even in the backfield, Jerick McKinnon. And that's the thing with the Falcons, too. They've got Cordell Patterson in the backfield, and he's amazing, in my opinion. He's a great dual threat running back. But with the Saints, of course, unknown about Kamara. If he's back, that's better for them. Anyways, they got Mark Ingram still. But Michael Thomas coming back is just huge for them. Because he pulls away so many defenders and he gets so many yards. And you can call him Slant Boy, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, his yards per target that year that he had the 149 catches was higher than Devontae Adams' yards per target last year. I'm just saying, he was 9.6 yards, and Devontae's was 8.8, I believe. You can fact check me on that. I do not know if that's true, but if that's fully true, but I do know that his average yards per target is higher than Devontae Adams. And also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You can say whatever you want about Michael Thomas, but he is a top 3 receiver when healthy. That year that he had the great year, he was the best receiver in the league that year. And there's a reason you can't guard Mike. There's a reason that's his name. Yeah, you can't guard Mike. Because you can't guard Mike. You can say whatever you want. 10 slants a game or whatever. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He has the most 10. He is tied for the most 10-plus reception, 100-plus yard games. Since 2016, I believe. And he hasn't even played the past 2 years. That's just phenomenal. And that's just incredible. So that's how I'm going to end it off with the NFC South. Next week, I believe I'm going to do my little 32-1 rankings. Today, I just didn't know if I wanted to do them. I wanted to do divisional rankings because Divisional is kind of a little easier. The next week, I'm going to look into the teams that they play and kind of go in depth with what I think their records can possibly be, ceilings, floors on a couple teams, and then go 32-1 rankings. But with that, that is going to be all for today. Glad that you guys could get to the end of this video. I don't know how long this has been. I think it's been about 40 minutes, which is not where I want it to be, but I hope you enjoyed. No guest today, as I said, as you've probably noticed because you're at the end. But it was fun. I like talking about this. So guest or no guests, I'll make sure to get one out every week. I might get 2 out next week just because multiple people are asking me what they want to do. You can comment down below in this video. Tell me who you think your favorite to be in the NFL next year. And also comment down below what you want me to talk about, because if you guys got any ideas and you'd love to share, I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to go and do those ideas. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. Just a quick episode for today, and see you guys next week. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Follow the podcast on YouTube, of course, and follow the Twitter. It's a brand new Twitter account, and I'll link those in the description below. All right, and catch you guys all later. All right, peace.